All right, guys, and we are back on the Nobody's Famous podcast. We are back with another guest, another show. And this time, I have a very, very special person with me today, Rachel Tarabay. I'm just going to jump in here before you say anything. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and ask the first question. There's a viral book going around. And yes, viral book. At least it's viral for those who read it. And it seems to have also reached your bookshelf. And maybe it's even next to your bed. I don't know. And the book is Sapiens by Yuval Harari. So I just want to ask you right here, what story or information between those pages shocked and surprised you most while reading it? The Nobody's Famous podcast.
Okay. To begin with, this book is very, very controversial, especially knowing that both of us are Lebanese. And what's controversial is that I get a lot of hate for reading it since the nationality of the author is something not only do we not agree with, but anyways, no need to add. But what really caught me, or what I'm really attached to with this book, is the idea of how we are attached to these concepts, these unrealistic concepts, and how we dedicate our life and we're devoted to these concepts that are absurd. And when you read this book, you realize that almost everything we do is quite absurd. Like human nature has taken this path, this absolutely unrealistic path. And so, from religion to other things, I'm not stating that these are my beliefs, but you just realize that there are always two sides to every story, or there are two quite different perspectives to everything. And the perspective and the knowledge you have reading, you gain reading this book, just makes you realize that, whoa, it's a mental trip, and it's everything. It's my absolute favorite book, and I don't think I will read anything that beats it, to be honest.
Wow, okay. That's a really that's a very big statement and favorite. I mean, I
There's
personally go ahead.
there's a post I posted on Instagram about monkeys and a banana. It's goes along the lines of saying, um, I forgot exactly, but it's something. The concept behind this book is saying that you can convince a monkey of this eternal life with bananas and whatever, and it's just speaking about the idea of convincing humans of heaven and how we're dedicated to living our life, to religion and heaven, how we're dedicated to living our lives to something that is it's we have absolutely no proof of where do we draw the lines of living in a world where things are proven to us, or things are they have proof in any way, and then the absolute opposite, where we dedicate ourselves and we devote ourselves to these concepts with absolutely no proof, no basis, no anything except just culture, I could say.
I think you were referring maybe to if you the monkey and the bananas versus like dollars or something because they don't know if what dollars are. So, but they know what bananas are, so that's enough for them. I think it's something along those lines. I mean, I personally haven't read the book yet. I'm not a I'm not a
Yeah.
big book person. I'll say yet to make it easier for everyone who has read the book and like, oh, you haven't read it. But I mean, I should, and I just think that you know through my own research and things that I've watched or articles that I've read, I do understand where the book is going. I understand what you mean by sometimes we take things as they are. We don't do our own research or use this thing that is in our head to find out other paths to maybe something that we want to achieve or something that we want to do. Um, and that leads
And
me to yeah.
sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but one thing that is very highlighted in the book is the idea how we tend to neglect science, and we see this currently with the conspiracy theories around vaccines. Like, so
Hmm.
science shows us that things, for example evolution, is something that has gone a certain way, and like he explained it in details with like different species in different areas of the world, and how like everything just took its path and we reached a certain place. And on the other hand, we tend to like neglect all these facts, all these scientific evidence, and just have gone a certain way. And what I was saying is I tend to talk a lot about books. It's my weak spot. But like what I was saying is that we see this currently with the coronavirus and the vaccine, how a lot of people tend to like neglect all these scientific evidence to how beneficial it is for us to take the vaccine, how important it is. We're in a world crisis, no need to say. So and people like masses are following these conspiracy theories and these very absurd concepts or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to add that thought on
Yeah, no, I
Sapiens.
think I
And
think it's yeah.
everyone listening to this should read Sapiens, and so should you. It's an incredible book. It's a life, like it changes you. You cannot. I've read Sapiens at one time and a half. Actually, I need to
Oh
finish the
wow.
other half. Yeah, so you cannot close Sapiens being the same person. That's all.
Okay, again, a big statement, which I need to challenge that and take you up on that. I expect to come out on the other side like, "Khalas, I'm traveling somewhere and I'm not coming back and just living in my own world." But I think it's important. And to touch on what you said about the vaccine as well, I do understand like this point where people tend to neglect science a lot and tend to not think of or believe that certain things. I do understand that there is, oh, again, like we said, there's two sides to every story. There's obviously a side where you think, okay, let's just get everyone vaccinated and think about the consequences later, versus to understand that actually now, if we are in a time where we can't create a vaccine in 6 months or in a year, then there's really something, we have a bigger problem. I remember somebody said that actually to me, and they said, "Well, if we don't have the means and the resources and the technology and the scientific know-how to create a vaccine within a year, then we have a bigger problem than the virus itself." Um, so to touch on your point with how science is advancing quicker now, and there's a lot of the devil is in the details, and I think we should be looking at that as well. I mean, not me personally, I'm not a scientist, but I don't know how they do it, but people need to look at the details to really understand what is going on. And I just have a follow-up question to my first question was, um, I mean, all this stuff that we're talking about, we live in a very information heavy world, and it seems more and more we're reducing things to short forms, which are like beams or bullet points, that kind of stuff, and the pace of life is getting faster and faster. What do you think is wrong with that? Why not see the movie instead of read the book? Why not read the headline instead of the full article? Like, do those, I think you're on the side where, and this is something I learned very recently, which is called the slow web as opposed to the fast web. So I think you're on the slow web side, which is, take information as you want it, but not as it's thrown to you, because so many, you can just scroll, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any type of media, and just information gets thrown to you so much, and you just, it kind of beckons you to just digest, digest, digest. Do you think this is wrong or this is fine?
Well, I can't really say it's wrong. Like, I'm in no position to say it's wrong, but it really depends on the person. Like you, as you said, this is something you noticed in me. I believe it depends on how eager you are to to prove yourself wrong. Like I believe main part of being an erudite or someone who is eager to learn and to expand their knowledge is their eagerness also to prove their knowledge wrong. So
Mm.
it's like I am certain that there is no limitations to what you can learn, and no one knows everything, and that's a given. Like it's there's no need for me to say that. But at the same time, it's important to always know that you know nothing. You know what I mean? So you know the famous quote, "All I know is that I know nothing." And so it's important to follow this path. Actually, to a person who is eager to be knowledgeable and to expand their knowledge will always take the path in which more information can be gained and different type of information, and not just like one-sided information. So information, as we were saying, like with Sapiens, like two sides to the story, to read what you agree with, but at the same time to read what you completely disagree with, and to be able to read as an outsider and learn what you want. And this is what I believe I can't do through movies or through social media or through this just easy given knowledge, because it's important to understand in depth why, for an example, people think this way, or why this is proven this way, or why this is not proven this way, or why someone disagrees with the concept. I guess you get the point. And to be able to do so, it requires a lot of time, dedication, and eagerness to learn and to
Yeah,
dedicate your time to doing that. So yeah,
yeah. I mean,
and
I'll
that's
be,
why.
yeah. I mean, I'll be the first to say I am a victim of this fast web kind of stuff. Like I like to, I'd rather I'd rather see the movie than read the book. I like fast information. I mean, I'm a tech tech forward person. I like this stuff. I like technology and I like
You,
advancements. If I
you
see
just said
robots,
technology, yeah.
yeah,
Um, I actually noticed that at the same time, I'm not quite good with technology. So maybe that says a lot about why I am that type of person. So I find myself sometimes very like reluctant to like discover things in terms of technology. You know what I mean? And yeah, so maybe that is a huge reason. Like for me, I use Instagram because it's the easiest to use. You know what I mean? Like if you notice, I'm not that active on other social media because I don't really like discovering this world of technology. I'm interested to read about it, but like
mm,
I leave it where it is. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think this is a very also a very difficult topic to discuss. Like I don't want to get so philosophical here and I don't want to get so like deep into these things, but it's a very difficult topic and we're going to sound very similar to what other people might be saying. I just think that everything done in moderation is probably the best approach. If you feel like understanding a certain type of platform or reading a book or trying to understand a certain type of culture, it's very important to maintain your current, whether it's your personality or maintain your current traditions, and of course learning along the way and furthering yourself. But either way, I think maybe either it's the fast or the slow web, engulfing yourself in either completely is probably not the best course of action, especially probably with the fast web, because there's another thing which we can probably talk about later, which is the instant gratification uh, thing that
Mm.
we live in right now, which is part of all of this. Anything that you want is just a few taps away on your phone, and that allows people to lose. I don't know, lose a part of themselves. I guess. Again, I'm a victim of that. Um, so I want to formally introduce you, Rachel, and I'm gonna read your bio back to you. Okay, because I find it see I find it very interesting because you said
I
that,
okay. I
yeah.
really hate bios. I can't write about myself. I really hate describing myself. I don't know how. I don't know why I'm doing this because I'm so bad at just like I don't know who I am or what I am. So
And I don't know why you make it sound negative. I mean, there's people at the age of, I don't know, 40s, 50s, 60s, whenever. Like, there's no age limit to it. It's not only young people, and even young people who know themselves. Like, this is not a negative thing. Um, but I wanna read it back to you, because maybe by reading it back to you, you might believe that what you wrote is actually good. Okay, because I don't think it sounds as bad as you may think that it sounds. Um, so this is what you wrote to me. You wrote, if you had a picture next to confusion in the dictionary, you would find a picture of Rachel Tarabay awkwardly smiling right there. Genius. Genius. Somehow I have managed to channel this confusion into my ambitions, leading me to always invest the extra energy in everything I do. I am enthusiastic about politics, and I hope to expand my career somewhere in this area. The only talent I have is my ability to procrastinate. Genius, absolute genius. I aspire to travel to cities I can't pronounce and indulge in unfamiliar cultures. Lose me, and you'll know I'll be reading in some corner, attempting to avoid people and reality. Life is accumulated with as life is accumulated events with attempts of escaping reality, and that is what I have been doing my entire life. At this point, I have given you way too much and way too little information. I don't enjoy writing about myself, so please feel free to add or remove anything, as I genuinely have not figured out who I am and what I like. Okay, before I go to my first sub question, reading it again now, because I've read it before, reading it again now, the fact that you know these things about yourself, okay, just proves that you do know yourself. You do know what you like and what you don't like. And you don't have to respond. My first sub question to this is why do you hate writing about yourself? Why do you hate it?
because um okay, I don't have an answer, but because I feel like we are all trying too hard to like fit in places and in things and like just trying to fit in into aspects to try and discover who we are, and we tend to like forget to actually see if we agree with what we're doing, or we agree with what we're learning, or we agree with the path we are taking in life. And so this is why like I find it, I don't know, I feel like everybody is just reflecting this image of what they think society wants them to be, and not what they actually are. Like I don't see authenticity in things anymore. And I I attempt and I try my best every day, because this is easier said than done, and not to conform to this path that like a lot of people tend to take, including myself. I'm not saying that I have not taken this path, I don't conform to things, but I'm saying that I absolutely am trying my best not to. And this is why I don't like describing myself, because I don't know if I'd actually be true to myself by describing myself. Okay, I don't even understand what I said, so I don't know.
No, look. I'm gonna give quickly respond. I'm not gonna stay too long with it. All I'm gonna say is, if you're not gonna write about yourself or even write or big yourself up, nobody will. Okay, so you write as much as you know about yourself in the best way possible, because in this world nobody will. So that's what I'm going to say about that. And the conforming to things, we can get into that later, but for sure I agree with you there. But life is it's a journey. You realize before university, oh, I need to copy what that person wrote because it sounds amazing and stuff, so you start writing that. And then when you start to learn and you start to grow, you realize and you can formulate your own opinion of yourself, and that's what's important. So all I'll say is write about yourself in the best way possible, because nobody else will. um, Second thing, you said you channeled your confusion into your ambitions. So I find that contradictory, because you can't you can't be confused and then channel that energy into something that you like, you know, because confusion can paralyze you. And I just, do you agree with what I said?
No, I believe. Okay, no, I don't agree because I believe the idea that I'm confused is what makes me ambitious. It's like I'm constantly trying to understand like what I like, what I want. If I like what I'm doing, and I still don't know. Like I don't think anyone my age knows or should know. Like it's not a bad thing. So it doesn't paralyze you. It just makes you eager to further understand what it is you want to do, what it is you like. It it depends. Like it could paralyze you. I can't say it doesn't paralyze you. It could, but it just depends on what you do with it.
Okay. I just think that I found it a bit contradictory for you to say, "Oh, I'm confused, but I channeled my energy," which is a good thing. And I agree with you. Personally, I am a ambitious person, and while I wouldn't probably label, for sure, I'm confused about things, but I wouldn't label it as I am confused. Therefore, I don't
True.
know which path I'm taking. I would just say, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I'm saying that I
Yeah.
would say I'm curious. I want to try to learn more about the stuff that I don't know, and uh, take myself forward. But confused is not the word I would use, especially with what you wrote, because I don't think that's confusion. Um, Next point. Go ahead. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No, all I want to say is writing is not my biggest skill either. So, like
It,
you're right, it might not be the exact word for what I just can't express, you know? So,
you express pretty well, because I've been able to ask questions from it, so I can say that you've expressed it pretty well. Um, the next question, you say your talent is procrastination. So
Ali, how long did it take us to schedule this? Tell them.
I always, well, how long did it take? This show took us well, a month of postponing and another month of just maybe silence or going back and forth, and then a bit more postponing here and there. Uh, so yeah, it's quite a long time, but I always say
The art of procrastination.
exactly, and it's an art. Fairly, it is an art, and I will say, I will say that whenever a show might, when I do a show with somebody, whenever it happens, I believe it's the best version that it can be. So the procrastination has probably led it to its final and best form. So I wouldn't say look at it in a negative way. um, so your talent, procrastination, the art of procrastination. How have you utilized your this talent in in a good way? I would say in a good way.
No, no, not in a good way, but I have adapted to the idea that no matter what I do, I will procrastinate, and I end up performing decently well. Like for where I am at this age, I would say that it has done me good so far. It probably would have done me better if I didn't procrastinate, but like I managed, Talia, I managed.
Next point. Also, what you wrote in your bio, you say that you escape reality, and you said it like so calmly, so aptly. Like, how do you do that?
Everything you do is escaping reality. Like the moments you spend on social media, the moments you spend eating comfort food, for an example, or all these things, you're just trying to like escape what reality is. The things you try to do, try to read, the people you try to see, and all. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Okay, because I could argue that going to see some friends is escaping reality. You might have some responsibilities that you want to do. You might go see some friends to forget and let the time pass. So my follow-up question to that would be, what is we keep saying, oh, come back to reality, oh, it's a reality check, but what really is that reality check that we're saying? What is it? Just simply, we have to be in a job from 9 to 5? Is it paying off bills? Is it paying off
No,
debt?
reality is not, it's not the hustle mentality. That's not reality at all. But like, it's like the bigger picture, the things. It's the idea that this is gonna be so like philosophical. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know how long you want this
I know,
podcast to
I
be,
know.
but like it's just the idea that like humans have taken this like very natural world and done all the things to it that are very unnatural. So the cars we drive and the places we live and the things we do, it's this is escaping reality. It's not like the hustle mentality and all. It is, the hustle mentality is based on the idea of money, and money is very artificial. It's not real. So the numbers in your bank account, these are things that are not real. And we tend to base our life on these things, which is very unrealistic. So it's like my second favorite book is called Walden by Henry David Thoreau.
I'm
And
coming
why
to.
I like it, okay, خلاص
No,
سكتنا.
go ahead, go ahead. Jump.
And Walden is about Henry David Thoreau, who isolates himself in another author, Ralph Waldo Emerson's cabin,
Oh
for,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, it's 2 months, 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, or something like that. I don't remember the exact time period. And the whole book is about like, it's like him expressing how all we need is like nature. Like we tend to overcomplicate things, the things we do, and like this capitalistic world is. I'm not saying I'm against capitalism. We probably cannot live without it. But what I'm trying to say is that we tend to overcomplicate these things that make us drift away from reality. That's it.
Okay. And on this book, because maybe it touches on what you just said. I mean, I was looking at a few comments, people who were reviewing it. Somebody asked, "Is it worth reading it? What do you think about this book?" And the comments were a bit divided. Some people were saying like, "It's not worth it. Don't bother yourself." One part of it is the Henry David Thoreau we know, and the other part is, who's this writing this book? So is it, you think it that people are divided because of what you said? Like, there's a
I
subsection
think
of
it's people.
people. Hmm, go ahead.
I think people are divided because it's quite extreme. So
Hmm.
he completely isolates himself without anything. And so he does everything, like cooks his own food. He like goes back to centuries before technological development. And so I think it's quite extreme. And he discusses the idea of nonconformity, which we spoke about, we touched upon. And so it is quite extreme, which may lead people to like backing off, like, what is this? So yeah, it's different. It's a very unique book. And the thing is, why I like it, although I know it's extreme, and although I know it's something I would never do in my entire life, although I'm interested in doing, but I would never do in my entire life, it's the idea is that you take the major lessons from these books and you try to apply it to the life that you are living. So for an example, he discusses like non-conformity, and you try to apply it to the lifestyle that you are living in. And so this is why I personally like it, and I can completely understand why others don't. But like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty extreme, especially. I mean, I would not imagine I could do that, or at least do without technology, or at least if I put myself in a cabin and I lived there for 2 years, I would so require technology and the tools, current tools to be able to continue. But yeah, I do kind of agree with you why people would find it a divisive book. Um, on the poem that you like, "Road Not Taken" by Robert Frost. Uh, I read it, and there's
Voila. Do you work in research?
no, no, I don't. It's part of my
You
job.
should.
It's part of my job. Um, there's a very interesting question I have here because people, and you see it like on social media, and you see, I don't even know if, again, like I don't even know if people really say these things, but anyway, they put like random quotes for people, and I don't think it's really them who said it. They say it's like it's a cliche for people to come and say, especially on social media, they say, oh yeah, take the road less traveled, you know. And it's been said to the point where, I'd be, anyone would be scrolling and just go like, okay, I get it, like I get it, take the road less traveled. But if we're all doing this, right, isn't it the most traveled road? Like I don't understand. People keep telling you, oh,
Why are we looking at what? Why are we? It's why are we looking at what road everyone is taking? Like to each his own. As long as you are not attempting to do what everyone is doing, it's not like they're like, let's take Sheikh Zayed road, or it's not like that. It's just the idea is that just don't do what everyone is doing, or don't do these things because everyone is doing them. Like even if a road is harder, even if a path you might take is harder, is different, as whatever, just do what you need to do what you want to do. Like it's not like everything that's simple, that's easy, that's familiar, just that.
yeah, I mean,
So yeah.
I understand what the poem is referring to, and it's a very like a noble way of him realizing, that the road that he took, even though he really wanted to take the other road as well. uh, it's a very nice, kind of self-realization that, that it's okay, to sometimes not go with what you want to go with. But I just feel like if everybody's saying, take the road less traveled, I mean, it feels like we're all on the same road then. you know it just I
Tough,
find it, I just find it weird. And
tough.
I have a very paradoxical question on this same subject about the poem is, do you think we always have to get out of the comfort zone? Like, can't we decide when it's time to leave it? Instead of, again, going back to your poem or the quotes on social media, people say, on Instagram and all this stuff, once you step out of your comfort zone, that's when you grow, and all these random things that people have said, and you from random accounts.
Ali, you're asking me like I know.
I want your
I
opinion.
know.
It doesn't have to be.
I know you want my opinion, but like, Bilakis, I know you want my opinion, but my opinion is that I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have an opinion towards this because it really depends on you. You know what I mean? And like, it depends. I still don't know how it is for me, whether I perform better in my comfort zone or outside my comfort zone, or if I'm growing in my comfort zone. I don't. It's like maybe in the little things you're right. Like being in your like my comfort zone is reading a book, and that's where I'm growing my knowledge. Obviously, this is not what you're actually like saying, but like you know what I mean. So I don't know. I don't like these types of questions. No, I'm not saying that don't ask them, Bilakis. I like when people ask them because it makes it feel like I'm preaching, and I don't feel like I have enough experience to preach. You know what I mean? Like I feel like بتعلم برجع بقولكم
Yeah, yeah.
it's
But
so.
I, of course, I appreciate your honesty, and my point with asking it is just for us to invoke that conversation, just so we can
Yeah, I
at
know
least talk about it.
it's a very important, exactly. It's a very important conversation, and the idea that I don't have an answer to it, it just reflects more on why people need to talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying otherwise. I'm just saying that I think I'd be the wrong person to ask in specific. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I don't know.
I think.
I don't know what my comfort zone is. I don't know what my comfort zone isn't. I just don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's
Like,
because people. No, no, no. I just think that people like, people might be listening to this show or another show, or they might listen to another podcast, and people might vaguely say, oh, you should get out of your comfort zone, you should do this, and then they're not specific, or they're not they're not specific about what you should do, or people are confused, or they say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, I'm going to do something new, I'm going to do something that. And some people can't do that as easily, and I think they just need some help, or they need to talk about it for them to find their own kind of thing that they feel comfortable with. I mean, if let's take a very simple example, reading is not my, it's not my comfort zone. So if I read, I will be out of my comfort zone, because when I read, I only read because I want to finish the book, so I can say that I finished it. So I'm really not enjoying the book. I'm just reading it to say that I finished it. And but again, that's me coming out of my comfort zone. And yes, I will learn. And but I can also learn within my comfort zone. And this is what I liked about what you said, actually. Um, and we don't have to say more about the subject. But I do appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate your answer. I think uh, just talking about it is great. Um, Next point is your obsession with McDonald's. Okay, now I really love that you sent, like, you sent me a photo and it spoke like 1,000 words. You just sent me the photo. It's so representative that I didn't even have to think um, so much about it. Um, I mean, I wouldn't say I have an obsession, but it reminds me of my childhood. You know, like with a lot of people, it's part of their childhood. You know, Happy Meal, weekends, all that kind of stuff. Does that where it stems from you, or is it just, you know, it's a craving? Is there a reason why you sent me
Actually,
McDonald's?
I really love McDonald's, and I actually have a Big Mac sitting in my fridge right now,
Oh my
waiting for
God.
me to eat it. Yeah, yeah. Would you like me to like eat McDonald's on the show for authenticity?
Yeah, why not?
So I'm actually going to tell you a very short story. So there was this one time that I was fighting with someone important to me, and we finished fighting, and I finished my breakdown. And the first thing I did was I went to McDonald's, and that's it. I came back in another mood, a happier person, and maybe this is my escape from reality. But I'm obsessed. Like I don't know why, but I
Yeah.
love it. Like it just it's fun, you know, it's good, it's fun, it's like I'm doing something very wrong, but it's making me feel so much pleasure. So
Okay, so
this
it's
is
it's it's the whole package. Like it's the going, it's the excitement, the hotness of the food, you know, the taste. It's all of that, right?
it's everything. It's McDonald's. It's perfect.
It's McDonald's. You should, you know what? You should be a brand ambassador. I think I found your comfort zone. You should be a marketeer for
I'd
McDonald's.
love to. I'd love to. Let's
I don't
tag
I
them.
I don't see I don't see why not. You should probably be that if you have a simple answer as it makes you happy, you know, then
it, it, it it makes me ecstatic, not just happy.
there you go. Because I think you know, we can go into this also like very deeply, but um, it's kind of, I think, where the brand comes from, and maybe even the original you know, founders. It was just to for people to enjoy the food. Maybe you have that you know, you really understand the brand more than others, rather
Yeah.
than going to it after a night out, you know, or oh, I'm really craving it now, but I'm gonna feel bad after, but I'm gonna have it anyway. So um, yeah.
Story of my life.
So my next question, Rachel, is on Demokratia. Um, so you know, I did do a bit of like quick research, and you wrote something really nice when you started it, and it was you talking about it, just explaining to people what it is. You said, I present to you Demokratia, the future of youth in politics. Demokratia is an organization that I have founded that will be a platform of political change in Lebanon that is independent, nonpartisan, secular, solution oriented, and informative. Um, obviously there's a lot to unpack there, which we don't need to get into. But you know, in your own other words, what would you say? How would you describe, you know, your kind of movement?
Um, Okay, so I just want to give a shout out to Linda, who is currently taking over Demokratia since with my current lifestyle and job and so I'm no longer able to do that. And the idea of me not being able to do that is the reason why Demokratia should exist in Lebanon, because all of us are unfortunately leaving. We live in a country where we cannot express ourselves, we cannot fight for our rights, we can't do anything. And it's absolutely horrible. And I think what I want from Demokratia and what I wanted when I first founded Demokratia is the idea of encouraging youth to actually join politics. So for the next elections, I'd like to see more youth running for elections and more youth voting and just changing the political sphere in Lebanon, which is very well needed, to be honest, and to bring us back, because I know we all have Lebanon in a very special place in our heart. And although right now that it's very complicated, and you know that, I think, more than me, more than others, but like, I don't know, we all have this love-hate relationship towards Lebanon. For some of us right now, it's more love than hate, and for a lot of people like me, it's more hate than love. But yeah, we need Demokratia to be able to fight through something authentic for a better future for our country. And that's all.
And do you think that you will, you know, come back to it?
I,
Like,
I no,
no, I wasn't talking about Lebanon. I was
I
saying come back to the work
no,
that you're doing.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't, because I don't, you know, to me, it absolutely amazes me how people are like, we have hope. Wow, a better tomorrow for Lebanon. Wait and see what we're gonna. We're not doing anything. We're doing the bare minimum in Lebanon, and I understand that a lot of people can. But come on, a lot of people can, and at this pace, we aren't reaching anywhere. It's nothing. No change is gonna happen to Lebanon with everyone just sitting at home or traveling or doing their own thing away from changing their country. And I know a lot of people tried, and including us, and a lot of people actually put in time and effort and genuinely tried to change our country, especially with the October Revolution. But like, personally, I don't want to invest my time in Lebanon. See, Ali, for me, it was very different. I was raised outside Lebanon, and I came for my last years of high school and university. And so I tried. It was my life in Lebanon has been an experience of me trying to connect with it, of like trying to find myself in this country. And unfortunately, I can't relate to it on any level. And why I'm in Dubai is because I was raised in Saudi. I love Al Khalij. And I love it so much. I love the Gulf. It's, to me, it's just home. You know what I mean? It's the home I couldn't find in my country, and I wouldn't go back to Demokratia because I'd be lying to myself. I don't believe, like, for a moment I tried to believe in Lebanon, but I just can't. Not
I think
anymore.
we have kind of similar. I want to say very similar outlook in a way. I mean, for me, I've been living in the UAE all my life, so it's very, very different for me to also relate to Lebanon as others would have. So I understand your frustration. I think we are on the same level, and I think it's very difficult to bring up this kind of perspective with those who haven't lived outside Lebanon. It's difficult for them to see the other side, whereas they might think it's running away from the country, or they would think it's not patriotic, or they feel like you're just not you know doing anything. And I just think that you make a decision, and you make a decision for yourself. You want to live your life, and you shouldn't have to you know uh, go or be in a place to suffer just because others are suffering as well. I don't know. It's a very tough subject, definitely, and yeah, there's a lot more to discuss on it. Um, I want to move to a couple of questions about the show, by the way, Rachel. Um, okay, so Rachel, I want to say first of all, thank you, for joining. And I have two last questions for you. And the first one is, why did you decide to come on to the show?
Um, I don't know. I like the concept, It's like I think we sort of had enough of the same people. So the idea that like the people you bring on the show are very unique, I noticed. And so um that's why it's something new, it's something different, it's something very authentic, unique. Yeah, I like that. So that's why.
Okay, well,
And
I
I've
hope
never done it before, so I'm just like,
this
let's
is
do this.
your first podcast.
Yes.
And how has the experience
I'm
been so
actually
far?
very new to the idea of podcasts in general.
Okay,
So yeah, I sort of discovered them very recently.
okay. And what do you think of the name of the show?
It's nice. I I'm not a big fan of famous people.
Okay.
Not that, I can't say that that's such a big generalization, you know what I mean? But like I just don't like to like, for an example, hear about the life of like celebrities and influencers, and it's just like okay, okay, like I don't really follow up on famous people. Like, it's not my cup of tea.
Okay. I mean, we're trying to here, obviously, on the show to try to always show that ordinary people have a voice as well, and you don't have to have millions of followers to have an opinion or to have genuine and like really um, uh, important things to say so people can learn from. Um,
So ordinary people are extraordinary.
that is the tagline. That is the tagline. um, so finally, my last question to you, Rachel, before we end the show is, do you have a question for me?
Do I have a question for you? Why? Why? What is it about? Okay, let me
Why'd you ask me
rephrase
this
this.
question? Why?
No, okay, so basically, what is it about you that is unheard or unnoticed that made you want to create something that would make ordinary people notice? If there is something, I'm not assuming there is, but like, yeah.
I mean, without going into all the details of how we started, it was really not that there was just something in me. There was a talent in my partner, my co-founder Alex, and there was a talent in me to maybe do voices or to imagine that I could host a show. So I think these combined talents is very basic, by the way. As you can see, it's very basic kind of like approach. Is these basic talents and our notion of let's try to create something where it's not full of celebrities or full of very famous people where they're the only ones who can speak. As you said, I mean, you can see a lot, a lot now where it's just about them, and we need to give a platform for any type of person. So I think those things combined, and my love for voiceover, his love for audio, kind of came together, and we wanted to create something that can create a conversation, give a spark so that people can start talking about learning from others who are not necessarily famous people or celebrities, even if they were doctors or scientists that were famous and stuff like that. They can be any type of personality who has had a either a traumatic experience or have had a very, very different experience, an important experience, any type, that we can have them on the show and create a safe space for people. So it's a combination, I would say, of different things to make it very specific combination of things that made it possible. And yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing. I'm a big fan. That's
well,
all I can
great.
say.
One more. So, Rachel, I wanna say thank you so much for joining and coming on the show.
Thank,
Do you have any last words
thank.
before I sign us off?
No, thank you for having me. And yeah, I guess thank you for this. It's new, and I like that it's new. It's different, and yeah, that's all.
Awesome. It's
And
been my
I had a lot of
absolute
fun.
pleasure. It has been my absolute pleasure. Well, and with that, Rachel, I'm
Likewise.
gonna I'm gonna sign us off. So, guys, this has been the Nobody's Famous podcast. We have been on with Rachel Tarabay. Make sure you check her out on her Instagram, the only social media platform that she uses. And you can watch this episode on YouTube. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, Anghami, Spotify, Stitcher, any place where you can get your podcasts. We'll be there. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Nobody's Famous podcast. This is Ali signing off.